We have been telling you a lot about the Dalai Lama's visit to Canada this week, and today the man they call His Holiness is giving a speech in Toronto about the art of happiness. It's something we all aspire to, right? The pursuit of happiness. But while the Dalai Lama calls it an art, you might say my next guest thinks of it more as a science or a skill, something we can quantify. And as a numbers guy, he should know. John Helliwell is a renowned economist. He's with the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research. He's also giving a speech on happiness tomorrow in Vancouver. John Helliwell joins me now. John, how rich are you and how happy are you?
I'm happy, and it's not because of richness. And communication is good even across the country. And with a smile, it's even better.
You know, so many people believe that money will make us happier. It gives you the freedom to do what you want. Some call it access. Why do you disagree?
Well, the evidence shows we've now started going back and redoing all the assumptions, which more or less have been that material prosperity was everything. We ask people how happy they are with their lives and then try and find out what's true about their lives. It turns out that income is important, especially at the lower levels of income, to give that kind of freedom you talk about. But what's very important in all the evidence, and this is very much the kind of thing that the Dalai Lama concentrates on, is the social context, so that the time people spend with each other, especially in friendly interactions, building up the trust. Trust is enormously important. Let me give you one number, if you want to have a number to take away.
Sure.
Moving up on the workplace where you spend your day, if you're asked to rate the trust in management in a scale of 1 to 10, moving up just 1 point on that 10-point scale has the equivalent effect on your life satisfaction as a 30% difference in income. Well, that's pretty big.
30% difference in income for 1 point on the trust scale?
Just so. So there are a lot of people who may not quite realize why they're as unhappy as they are, and they better start thinking about it. It's too easy to think that it's because you don't have another vehicle of the sort that's parked on top of a mesa in the ads, but it probably is that you've shortchanged yourself in terms of your social connections, reaching out, doing things for others. It turns out there's a lot of now experimental evidence showing that people who one way or another are put in circumstances that enable them to do things for other people are much happier than they would have been had they not. One of my colleagues has done experiments where people are given money on the one hand and asked to use it to make themselves happy. On the other hand, they're instructed to give it away. It turns out the people who are instructed to give it away afterwards are happier than the ones who had everything open to them as possibilities. That's pretty powerful evidence. It supports other evidence that, in fact, people mispredict the amount of life satisfaction they're going to get from material things and underestimate the pleasure they'll get from trusting interactions with others.
So how do you explain why most people believe then that money will make them happy? I mean, are we all fools?
Well, there is this systematic error people make. So in some sense, it really means it needs people like the Dalai Lama speaking out and asking people to think about their life in a different way. A lot of them will do that. And when they do it, they'll find out it makes a difference. And they'll realize that a number of the assumptions they've had, some of them coming from ads, but some of them just inbuilt and through habit, are wrong. And they can make a better life for themselves and especially for others by reaching out in these ways. Looking ahead, global warming is one of those issues that's really going to be dealt with when people re-examine their lifestyles and think in terms of less materially based progress. It'll come, and the more people realize that they're actually going to be happier with an alternative lifestyle, the more likely they are to do it in a willing way and be pleased with the consequences.
You know what makes me happy? When my kids do their homework, when they help with the dishes, when you know, my neighbors say hello to me in the morning. Those kinds of things make me happy. But give me a tip for being even happier, for being ecstatic, for waking up in the morning and saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm just alive, I'm so happy. What's your tip?
A random act of kindness for somebody else. It's the reaching out to help others that gives the unexpected and double boost. Of course, it makes them feel better, as you've just described, but it'll make you feel better even more so.
Good advice.